want to talk about jars today. Now, canning jars are tempered. They're not technically recycled because they're like a windshield. They're layered. Um, they're designed for high heat, pressuring, that type of thing, so they don't explode under pressure, provided you don't overfill them or you don't change the temperature rapidly. Um, These jars came from my mom. She's 89, so these are heirloom to me. I canned in these jars when I was younger. Um, Atlas. It's a really great jar, and you can still can in it provided the lid isn't rimmed or the rim isn't chipped, and it isn't. Atlas was bought out by another company, Curveball, I don't remember exactly, and they no longer make it, but they're still good jars. Here's Kerr and Ball. Each year they change the design of the jars. Some are more round, some are more square, some are like just different. The ball and what they mark on it, it's different too. So you can tell what they're valued as by, looking them up, because this Kerr is different than this Kerr. And yeah, you can say, well, it's a smaller jar, but it's different. Self-sealing and self-sealing is different. So they're different years that they made them. So you can tell, and this ball is really round and heavy shouldered, whereas this one is lighter and not heavy shouldered. Anyways, jars years ago like this would now be considered a junk jar, but it's this round top is actually a number 63. How do I know that? Because we used to get 63 lids and rings to fit, and they don't anymore. They got rid of it. So this jar, if you could find a lid for it, can be used for dry goods, but you won't find any 63s anymore. So basically it's worthless unless you can make it into a candle or something. They also use blue sand from up by the Great Lakes to make these, and they're also dated and they have some value to them. Salvation Army will put a price on them, and that's blowing my mind what they're asking. So some of these smaller jars that don't have rings and lids, or even jars like this, these rings do fit. But sometimes when you stick them on, they won't completely press down. So you have to be careful what you're doing with them to see if they're actually usable. I would use them for raw ferments or dry good type of things. As for pressure canning and hot water bath, I don't trust them anymore. This one is a heavier duty one. I would definitely hot water bath or pressure in that, even though it has no name on it. There are other jars like this one that are really good. The rim is actually not chipped, but people don't necessarily take good care of them sometimes, and they are chipped. The jar is good, except the chips are small and there's too many of them, and it won't seal. But a raw ferment or a dry good storage container, that's what this would be good for. There are jars that Canadian made, and this is improved, and it is no longer made, and the company is out of business, and the ring that goes around here you can't get, and we don't have anything that will work for that. So I just use them for drinking out of. I have a few. It's frustrating, that's why they were tossed away, but I reclaimed them. And I've been using them as drink jars. I am challenged to find something to seal them up. So they're only good for drinking out of, sadly. This is an old Miracle Whip jar. And yes, rings and lids fit on this wide mouth. And I have canned in here and pressured in these. I have not had a problem, although they don't recommend it because it's not technically a curd ball. And I understand that they have to have a tempered jar in order to have Miracle Whip or whatever they're, selling in here in order for it to work. But raw ferments, hot water bath, I have pressure canned into them, but not often. And dry goods storage is what these are good for. The lids and the rings, the wide mouth do fit. Although the newer ones these days have lids like this, and they're really short. You put a lid in there to make that, and it won't seal. That won't seal. The other jars that you can get that have jams and jellies have these type of rings, and you have to twist them on and twist them off. They don't work at all. Now in some countries they're able to get replacements because there is, like a glue or something, adhesive in here, and they tend to use them, but I have not done that. So these are good for dry goods, pretty much only if you have a use for them. These are only good for dry goods. I don't know why they don't have something standardized, except that they're trying to have them patented, and you keep rebuying the same things over and over again from them, and that's their profit. So the jars that are blue, I do reuse. I don't have a problem pressuring in them. I don't have a problem canning in them. Although this is an old jar, probably 1930, and it has up here, the shoulder is very narrow, and I didn't twist, I was doing a hot water bath, I didn't twist the ring down, tight enough, and the whole lid popped off. It's like, oh no, So this is apparently a ball. As you can see, it has a different pattern on it for writing, and there's also a flaw in it. Now the bubbles have never been a problem in these jars, but I don't technically want to can in these. I would just raw ferment or storage today. That's what I would do. This is very unique, rare. You can hardly see it, so that's like a flaw, and it should have been rejected, and it didn't. Now on the bottom of these jars, they do have numbers. This one's 12. This one's 8. This one's 20. They had different batches, and they would mark them with the numbers. And if you find a 13, which I do have one, on the bottom of these jars, most of them have been destroyed because they thought that was bad luck. It wasn't bad luck. But because of people thinking it was number 13, it was bad, they destroyed them. So if you get a jar that's a number 13, that's very rare, and I have one. I have one. This one has a 2. This one doesn't really say what it has. This one looks like a 08 or 8C or something, or 86. So each jar belongs to a batch, and I don't know how many they made per batch, but each jar, if it's cur, ball, or whatever, have a number, and that's important to know. So between the writing on it and the number on the bottom and who made it will tell you, if you Google that, what the value of the jar might be. So a jar like this, even though it's chipped, is worth maybe $10 or more because they don't make them anymore. And one that's in perfect condition that could probably be used is worth maybe more than that. And it's got a number 1 on the bottom. Just saying. Now this is a newer jar. It's a 24. You know, that has just a typical value that we would have normally what you buy in the store, which they keep going up and up and up. But it's not worth more than a couple dollars, and that's only if the lid and the ring are included. But the older ones can fetch $10 to $20 each. I don't worry about that. They're just like my friends, and I just use them because I grew up using these same jars. But like I say, an Atlas, more rare, more expensive, more valuable is what I mean.